Hi, this is Mark Wade from CenterCityCondos.com at Prudential Fox and Roach. And this podcast, I'd like to talk about buying a property, be it an REO or a foreclosure, in 2011. Now, I've had a lot of experience in the past couple months selling foreclosed properties in town. I'm not talking short sales, true REOs or foreclosures, rather, that have already gone through the process. I sold one at the Metro Club recently, 1035 Spruce, 315 Arch, 1223 South Street. They were all foreclosure and or bank-owned properties. And I'd just like to discuss the ups and downs, ins and outs of those things. Okay, first of all, 849 South 7th, very interesting property. It was a foreclosure, multiple offers on it. I'll get back to that in just a minute. Okay, a foreclosure, generally speaking, they're a little bit, if you're just looking at Trulia.com or Zillow.com or BagOfDonuts.com, it doesn't matter. Sometimes they're hard to find and they're hard to identify. I've been selling real estate in Center City for 22 years, and I kind of know what to look for as far as properties being identified as bank-owned or foreclosures. What I find to be interesting is, let's say, a property on the corner of 8th and Pine gets foreclosed upon, and the bank who owns it is out of California. Now, the reality is this bank has probably never seen the property. And when they list, they go to their computer and they type in, realtor network, who's ever on their network, and they generally list it with companies that are not necessarily big in Center City. There was one listed by Trademark Realty, very nice people, but they didn't do a lot of business in town. And as a result, you'll find that they don't do open houses, they don't do any advertising. And sometimes the foreclosures are a little bit hard to identify and a little bit hard to find. And what I find interesting is a lot of times these listing companies, since the original owner got foreclosed upon and he packed his bags and took the garbage disposal and took the kitchen sink with him and moved out, a lot of times we'll find the properties to be a little bit... There's a foreclosure right now in Center City where somebody actually took the kitchen cabinets. Now, how do you like them apples? Is that ridiculous or what? They took all the appliances and the kitchen cabinets. I guess they thought there was some value in there. If they were going to get foreclosed upon, they're taking the kitchen cabinets, you see. So a lot of times the listing agent will... And this is not a reflection on the company who's listing it, but a lot of times the listing agent will not have a lot of knowledge about that property. For instance, 849 South 7th Street, when it first came on the market, the listing agent had no idea that unit included parking, and I found that to be very interesting. There's a property in town right now that I take every buyer that ever comes across my plate over to this property because it is the best deal in town. And one of the biggest selling points is that it's got slate floors and radiant heat floors underneath the slate, and the listing agent has no idea. Now, I know because I've been in this business way too long. I need to find something else to do. No, I'm kidding. But it's such a huge selling point, and this unit may... I give it about a 1% probability. This unit may even have parking, and we're not going to know until we look at the condo docs to see how a parking space was assigned in the condo docs. So a lot of times you get more than you bargain for in a good way when you buy a foreclosure. It's not often, it's rare, but every now and then you can't expect to rely upon the fact sheet for full disclosure. You kind of need to do your own due diligence, and you got to make sure you have a home inspection, of course, and all that kind of stuff. Now, what I find a lot of times in these foreclosures is, buyers will come along and say, "Oh my gosh, that's a foreclosure. It's asking $500,000. I'm going to offer $200,000 because it's a foreclosure." No. Generally, the banks will list it at such a severe discount. There's your savings. Your saving is already into the asking price because it's already been severely discounted. The experience I've had in my 5 foreclosure sales recently is that banks will hold pretty close to their asking. They don't always hold out for full asking price, but they will. The discount has already been given in the fact that, if it's worth $500,000, they're already listing it at $399 or something like that. So the discount's already there. Now, back to 849 South 7th. Such a well-priced property that there were multiple offers on it. There were multiple offers on that property. There were multiple offers on my 1035 Spruce that was a foreclosure. There was multiple offers on my 315 Arch and multiple offers on my 1223 South Street. These properties, when they're discovered by the real estate community as a whole because they're underpriced, have a tendency to garner multiple offers. Properties that are foreclosed are generally sold in as-is condition. Again, this bank out in Walla Walla, Washington, who owns a property in Center City, they've never seen it, and they generally try to sell them as is. They're not interested in fixing the garbage disposal and fixing the light switch that turns on the bedroom light and repairing the caulk in the bathtub. No. You buy it as is, and that's generally the case. Now, you have a right to have the home inspection and back out if you don't like the results of the home inspection, but generally banks are not interested in making repairs to the property once you have your home inspection. And the one thing that banks like more than anything in my experience, fast settlements. You come in with an offer and it's shining and it's wrapped in gold and all that kind of stuff, but you want a 90-day settlement, you'd have to rub one of them magic lamps, because I've never known a bank to say, okay, well, we'll take that offer and we'll let you wait 90 days to settle on it. They generally want a quick settlement. They're looking to get this property off their books. So if you're looking to buy a foreclosure, know that you're probably in for a pretty good price, but the bank likes to ditch them as is, and I'm just speaking generally from my experience. They like to ditch them as is in a quick settlement, so be prepared. I like selling foreclosed properties because the overriding factor, forget the fact that they're dirty, that the bank hasn't cleaned them, and the tenant left the bathroom looking like hell, and it needs a little bit of emotional shine and polish put on it. Forget all that. The overriding factor here is the value that you generally can get in buying a foreclosure. So some of the ins and outs of buying foreclosures in town, there's a couple of them. There's two of them in town right now that I absolutely love, and I show them religiously just because, again, I don't care that the bathroom's dirty. I don't care that the seller's not going to fix that light switch. The one thing I'm going to try to impress upon you till the cows come home is the fact that this property is grossly underpriced for the current Center City condo market. So there you go. This is Mark Wade from CenterCityCondos.com. Questions, comments, or concerns, you pick up that telephone, you push the buttons on the front of it, 215-521-1523. This is Mark Wade. Thank you very much.